Welcome back, everybody. We're going to do a tomato review on this tomato right here, and this is called the Orange Hat tomato, and this is a Micro Dwarf tomato, which if some of you may or may not know about Micro Dwarfs, they're generally just very tiny tomato varieties. One plant will generally put out about this many tomatoes, and then they kind of get all kind of scrappy and yellow leaved, and they end up start dying, but you can prune them back before they die, and you could probably get a small, maybe half of this crop or a third of that crop on your second pruning if you want to do that, or you could just start it again from seed. But they are Micro Dwarf tomatoes, and Micro Dwarfs don't usually get much bigger than, say, 6 inches tall, and they get more bushy than tall. So let's take a closer look at the Orange Hat tomato. Let's pick a couple of them up. Okay, give you an idea what they look like. Okay, they're a little smaller than, say, cherry tomatoes in general. Well, these are anyway. Kind of a little bit on the small side, but they do get big. You know, I mean, you can get them as big as this, which is still a small cherry. Not that big. Right? It's a gorgeous little tomato. Let's cut one in half and see what it looks like on the inside. Now that one looks like a bichamber, but some of these Micro Dwarf varieties are actually coming up as tri-chambered with 3 chambers, and that's not normally what you wouldn't classify this as a cherry tomato if it's got 3 chambers, because generally cherry tomatoes only got 2 chambers, and this one kind of looks like it might have 3 chambers. Where are you? I'm sorry, right over there. Look at that. Right, so that's what it looks like on the inside. Give you an idea. I'm not even going to weigh these, to be honest with you. These are going to be really, I mean, they're not even, once you start getting into this size, there's really not going to be much to weigh. So I don't want to waste time weighing those. But let's break out the bricks and do a quick bricks for the bricks people. I know I always say that, but it's true. There's bricks people out there. They live and die by the bricks. Okay, it's a little above 5, so that's not bad. That's a little above. In other words, it's not going to be terribly sweet, but it's not going to be nasty or anything, so it's a little above 5. And let's take half of that to start, and let's give that a go. Okay, so let's get right into the numbers. The sweetness side of it was definitely somewhere around a 26 on the sweetness. It wasn't terribly high, but it was okay where it was. So we're going to go 26 on the sweetness. The tangy part was definitely a little higher. I'm going to say that was up there around 29, 30. It was definitely a little bit more on the tangy side than anything. Sweetness wasn't as high. So the balance is off a little bit, but it still tasted good, to be rather honest with you. Now, let's talk about the tomato flavor. That's the intensity of the flavor. I'm going to go with a 6.5 on that, possibly 7 on it. Had a pretty intense tomato flavor, and it was pretty strong from the beginning to the aftertaste. The aftertaste seems to be a little bit stronger than the front end taste of it. So the aftertaste really builds on the back of your tongue, so that's a good feature with that. Moisture, we're going to go with about a 7. On the moisture, generally you want to be 6, 6.5 on the moisture. We're going to go about a 7 on the moisture to give you an idea on how moist they are. They were actually quite moist. And we're going to go with the tardy wise. We're going to say it's about a half. We're going to go below 1. We're going to say 0.5, a half of a number as far as tardy. It was a little bit something there. It was very low, but it was definitely something there. Undertones, there may have been something, but it was very low, not enough for me to detect on. Texture was okay. We'll say it was about an average on the texture. Nothing to brag about. It was, you know, for a little tomato like that. I mean, I don't have there's no way to really pick up on the texture. It's so small. By the time you bite into it and burst it in your mouth, it's you know, it's pretty much gone. So it's hard to say texture. You know, but though the skins did break up with that. But we'll get to the skins. Production, it was a good producer. I mean, I wouldn't go too crazy on that. This is off of, well, I already made a harvest off of it already. But very similar to what you see here, maybe a little bit more. I would say that the production is pretty good. I'm not going to go really crazy with the production. I have other varieties of Micro Dwarfs that are extremely productive. Very, very productive. So in production, we're probably going to say, we'll probably go about, we'll say average on the production. I don't want to go low with it, but we'll say about average on the production. for a Micro Dwarf variety. Now, skins were a little bit on the tough side. I did have to kind of deal with that a little bit, and I was chewing them up a little, but they wasn't bad. They broke up pretty easily. So we'll go about average on the skins. Nothing special with that. Now, as far as seeds go, I'm finding that this particular variety has low seeds. It might be because, as you can see, these tomatoes are actually quite small, and they're not really big, so it could be because of that reason, but there's not a lot of seeds in it. So seed-wise, we're going to lower that number. Again, when we rate this number from, it's not how good it is with seeds or how bad it is. The only purpose for this column is to tell you how seedy it was. So the higher up this column we goes, it's very seedy. If it's low on a column, it means there wasn't that many seeds in it. So I'm probably going to go with a 3 on this for the seeds. It wasn't that seedy of a Micro Dwarf variety, so you're not going to get a lot of seed from this variety. And so how do I rate this tomato overall? I'm probably going to go as 1 being number 1 and 10 being the lowest. 1 is like the highest. I'll probably go with about a 3 on this. I wasn't too particularly over-thrilled with this variety. I did a lot of research on it. It seems like there's a lot of people that are excited about it. It's a very popular name, Orange Hat Tomato. It's sold on a lot of big seed companies. Baker Creek offers it. I think Seed Savers offers it. There's several other seed companies they offer this variety. It seems to be a very popular variety among a lot of the larger seed companies. But I wasn't overly impressed with it, being I grow so many other dwarf varieties of tomatoes, or Micro Dwarf, should I say. And I wasn't overly impressed with it, but it wasn't bad. I'm not going to say it was a bad tomato. I'm just going to say, you know, we're about average, maybe slightly above average on that one. Again, we're rating these as Micro Dwarf tomatoes. I generally don't rate Micro Dwarfs too much lower than, say, a 3, for example. And the reason for that is the variety of tomato is extremely unique in and of itself because the plant is so small. It just excels past really everything else, just because of the reason it's so small. So very rarely I rate Micro Dwarfs in the 3.5 or say 4 range, going down or even into the 5 range. Usually Micro Dwarfs are going to be up higher because they're a very unique type of tomato and crop to grow. So basically that's it, guys. That's your tomato review for the Orange Hat tomato. What I'm going to do is I'm going to leave a link in the description below, and it'll bring you over to the website. You can purchase seeds there. If you don't see the seeds available, keep checking back, because once I process these seeds within about a week or two, we're going to have these online. So you should see them online. I don't know when this video is going up. It may not go up today or tomorrow, but by that time you should see them online. You'll be able to pick up seeds there. We'll also leave whatever information we got on this tomato in the description and on the website, so you can read about it there. And that's it. That's your tomato review for the Orange Hat. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.